Lamb shanks, it's certainly a dish that I turn to in winter over and over again, and I'm going to give this a bit of a Hungarian feel by making lamb shank paprikash. So lamb shanks, I've got some beautiful little lamb shanks here. I brought them out of the fridge about an hour ago. I'm also going to add a good pinch of salt to my flour, and the flour is just going to help thicken up our sauce. So in with the lamb shanks, and just working with one lamb shank at a time, we're going to coat it in some flour. Shake the excess off, and we'll just do that for the other ones. Just in they go, just coating all of it. You want to make sure that it's not too thick because we'll get a gluggy finish on our sauce. So just a little bit of flour is fine. Great. Now I've just been preheating a saute pan that goes into the oven because we're going to start it on the stove top and then finish it off in the oven. So some extra virgin olive oil, we'll just add enough to coat the base of this large pan. And we want to seal them off, not just to start the cooking process, but this is also going to help develop the flavour in the sauce. So while they're sealing off, I'm just going to slice one onion, and that's the only vegetable I'm adding to this. You could add some carrot, some celery, some tomato if you like, but I really want to taste the paprika that I'm adding to this dish. So just keeping it super simple. You could add a side of vegetables to this if you like to. So one large onion. So these are going to cook down, thicken our sauce also, but we'll give it a really nice sweetness too. All right, let's turn our lamb shanks. And once we've got some colour on both sides, I'm going to remove them, add the onions, and then cook them for 5 minutes just to get some caramelisation. All right, those onions have got some great colour on them, so back in with our lamb shanks. And this is why you want to use a really large saute pan so they're not overlapping, just in one single layer so they cook evenly. And then in with some herbs, 2 bay leaves and a bunch of thyme, 2 cloves of garlic, I'm just going to leave them whole, some tomato paste, and with the tomato paste, just make a little space between the lamb shanks and just give that a bit of a jiggle just to cook off that tomato paste slightly. Now for the Hungarian paprika, it seems like quite a lot, but it's a very dominant flavour in here, so we're going to add a lot. And we'll just, again, give that a bit of a jiggle and a stir. All right, we want to cook this long and slow, so we need chicken stock. And just give that a little mix just to move around that paprika so it's completely mixed in with that stock. And we're good to go. Lid goes on. I like to cook this in the oven so we get that 360-degree heat around that pot. It's going to take about an hour and a half to 2 hours at 170 degrees. All right, lamb is out of the oven. Let's take a peek. Oh, that smells so good. That sauce is thickened too. So I'm going to pop the lid back on, keep it warm, and I'm going to serve it with some polenta. Now, I'm using instant polenta because it's super quick to prepare. So in a pot, I've got some boiling water, and I'll just rain in the polenta. Now, you don't want to add it all at once because we will get lumps, so you want to stir it and rain it in. And this is a great substitute for couscous, mashed potatoes, rice. It really goes nicely with the lamb, so that's why I want to show you how to cook it. Now, it does tend to spit, so just be careful and give that a really good mix, and you'll see it thicken up pretty much instantly. So you want to cook this off for a moment, and then polenta by itself, it's pretty boring. But if you add a nice pinch of salt and a good knob of butter, well, it completely transforms and it's delicious. So we'll add about 50 grams of butter straight to the pot and some Parmesan cheese. Now, this is my favourite part, just letting that gorgeous butter melt into this luscious, gorgeous polenta, and you'll see it become glossy. If you think it's too thick, you could add a little milk. Now, to keep with the theme of paprikash, I'm going to add some sour cream. And you'd usually add the sour cream to the meat sauce, but I'm going to add the sour cream to the polenta to give it a really nice creamy finish. So a generous spoonful of sour cream, stir that in to melt it away. And that is a luscious base for our lamb shanks. Look at that creamy, salty, smooth goodness. And this polenta is looking good. You know it's ready when you tip your spoon and it forms a bit of a wave effect. See that? Ah, just right. So a few spoonfuls into a shallow bowl. I love the polenta when it's cooked correctly. So I'm going to give myself a generous serving of this. Great. Now over to the lamb shanks. This one is looking quite perfect. So I'll just nestle it into the polenta. Go take away that bay leaf. And then all of this sauce, well, let's just add a spoonful straight over. And see it's deep colour because of that paprika. And a little garnish of parsley. You could finely chop it or just pop it on the side like I'm going to do. Slow cooked lamb shanks with a hint of Hungarian flair with a paprika and polenta. Very nice.